I would like to start us off with the theme of aparigraha, which means non-hoarding. This is when we operate from a place of scarcity or having short supply of something. And especially now during our coronavirus, it's easy for us to start from a place of scarcity by attempting to protect our resources. However, not all resources are abundant, such as time and money. However, I want to challenge us all to share what we all have as humans, and which is kindness, positive energy, support, and a smile. Let's start this class with the knowledge and attitude of sharing abundance with others. Okay, so for this class, we're going to do yoga on the theme of objects. So the first pose we're going to try is gate pose. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'll start the pose. So gate pose is basically we come to our mat. Hold on. We come to our mat and we're kneeling down onto our knees, and then we put our right leg goes straight out like that, and it faces the direction of the front of the room, and then our right hand extends towards our right leg, our right foot, and then we lift our left arm up, and then we gaze forward, or we can gaze up as well, and we stay here for a few breaths. Take an inhale, exhale, and then we come back and put our knees back together. And then for the opposite side, we want to put our left leg out and straight, and put our left arm on the knee, on the heels of our foot, and we can extend our arm up to the sky, and then gaze forward and breathe for a few seconds. Inhale, exhale. And that is bridge pose. Bridge pose helps with coordination as well as our back muscles. And okay, so for the next pose, it's good for back alignment and for stretching and for the ribs and lungs. For our next pose, we're going to do is plank pose. So plank pose is hold on. Oh wait, my phone's dying. Okay, so plank pose is basically this pose. So this is plank pose, and for plank pose, it's so I'll guide us through it. We'll be on our knees and our hands, and we're gonna put our hands underneath our shoulders and put our feet underneath our knees, underneath our hips, and then we're gonna straighten our legs, and then be straight like a plank. And this is plank pose, which helps for the upper arms and as well as the core muscles. Engage the core and don't forget to breathe here, and gaze straight. Make sure you lower your don't lower your chest too much so that you're falling, but make sure that your body is a straight line. And you're gonna breathe here for a few moments. Inhale, exhale, and then slowly lower down to release the pose. The next pose we're gonna do is diamond pose. So diamond pose, we're gonna sit on the knees and separate the feet so that they're across from so that they're wider than the hips, and then sit between your feet like this. So this is diamond pose, and so you can take a few breaths here. Just inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose. And that's diamond pose. And then the next pose we'll be doing is bridge pose. Bridge pose is basically like a bridge, which is why it's called bridge pose. And we're gonna lie down on the mat, just like so we're gonna lie down on the mat with our back on the mat, and we're gonna put our feet underneath our knees and our hands on the mat, and then we slowly raise the hips up and bring the shoulders behind our back and raise the hips and the butt up so that we're raised like a bridge, which helps for us to be strong and stable. And this is bridge pose. Yeah, so bridge pose, and then we slowly release the pose by lowering our hips down, and yeah, so that's bridge pose. And for our next pose we're gonna be doing is telephone pose. So telephone pose is it's called telephone pose because we look like we're doing a telephone. We're like calling someone using our own body. So for telephone pose, we're gonna lower one leg. I mean, both legs are lowered first, but we're gonna so one leg is straight and the other leg we're gonna lift our foot. So first grab one of your feet, and then we're gonna raise it up, and then we're gonna raise it up so that our ear is almost touching our foot if we can. And so this is telephone pose, and because the foot is like a telephone and the wire is your leg, and then we lower it down slowly. Make sure you don't overstretch, or because that could hurt your knees or your ankle. And then we do the opposite foot. So we lower one foot to the ground, and then we raise the other foot using both hands, and we raise it up to our ear, and that's telephone pose for both sides. And yeah, you can pretend you're calling someone using your foot, and then we lower it down, and that's telephone pose. So the next pose we'll do is wheel pose. So for wheel pose, you need to start with lying on your back, and so we're gonna lie on our back, and with our feet and our arms lying down on the mat, and we're gonna raise the knees so that they're parallel to the mat, and then we're gonna put our hands underneath placing them down on the mat, so our palms facing down, and we're gonna slowly lift we're gonna lift the hips and butt on the inhale or exhale. Sorry. So inhale first, and then exhale, and then raise your hips and butt. So like a wheel pose is this, and so yeah, so this is wheel pose, and it helps if you like relax your neck as well as gaze forward, I mean to the back of the room, and you can stay here for a few breaths. If not, you can just slowly lower down. Put your head on the mat first to release the pose, and then slowly come down using your hips and back. And that's wheel pose. Our next pose is excuse me. So our next pose we'll be doing is needle pose. So for needle pose, we'll be standing straight like in mountain pose. We're gonna come on the mat, and yeah, so we're gonna stand straight, and then we're gonna put our hands together and then pull them up so that they're straight like a needle. And this is needle pose because we look like a needle, and we can even raise our heels up so that they're straight and we're standing on our heels. So this is needle pose from the side, and then we can come down slowly by lowering our heels. And yeah, so that's needle pose, and we can lower our hands to our sides of our body. And then the next pose we'll be doing is so we're next doing bow pose. Bow pose is so I'll be showing. So bow pose is basically so we'll be lying on our stomach. So, and then we're gonna place our hands face up on the mat, and then we're gonna place our feet up behind our butt, and we're gonna grab our ankles, and we're gonna place our knees together at first so that they don't separate like this, so they don't separate too far when we're going up. And then we raise we inhale, and then we exhale, and we raise our thighs up off of the mat, and we gaze up, and we raise our chest, and we look forward. Be sure not to twist your neck too much, as this could hurt. And you could even roll back and forth a few times. Just, yeah. And then you can lower down slowly and lower your legs and your arms on the mat. Rest here for a few moments. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. Okay? And then we slowly get back up. And then our next pose we'll be doing is the chair pose. So for chair pose, we'll be doing first individually, then we're gonna find a partner to do chair pose with. But for our individual chair pose, we're gonna do we're gonna start by standing in a mountain pose, and then slowly bending the knees, and then imagine you're sitting in a chair. So slowly sit down, and it's an imaginary chair, and then you raise your arms up overhead and gaze forward and slowly lower down your knees. Make sure you gaze down and see that your toes are poking out, and make sure that your knees don't overextend. So make sure they're not like this, but they're parallel to your feet, and slowly lower down, and make sure your shoulders are relaxed, and gaze forward. So stay here for a few breaths. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose. And then slowly come back up, straighten your legs, and yeah, that's chair pose. And then we're also gonna do our last pose, standing pose, is table pose. So table pose, we're gonna pretend we're tables. So first we're gonna lie on our back, or not lie on our back, sit on our butt, and then we're gonna place the hands underneath the shoulders, and then our feet up below our knees, and then raise the buttocks up so that we're standing like a table. And this is table pose. So for table pose, we're gonna breathe here for a few moments and look straight. Don't twist the chins or the neck too much, and you can try to lift your hips up as high as you can, and then slowly lower down to release the pose. And that's table pose. Okay, so now we're gonna switch gears and try out some movement poses. So for the movement poses that we're gonna try are, the first one is gonna be the walking pose, which is tripod walking. So since I don't have a partner, I'm gonna use Medi Teddy. So Medi Teddy is gonna be here. So this is Medi Teddy, and he's a teddy bear that does yoga. So say hi, everyone. Hi, Medi Teddy. Okay, and then we're gonna be joining me today. So the first walking pose we're gonna do is we're gonna do a tripod walking, or yeah. So the tripod walking, which is basically, I'll show it to you guys. So grab a partner, and then one of you will be in plank pose. So pretend you're in plank pose, and then the other person is gonna, since Teddy Mendy is too short, he'll just pretend his hands are on the mat, and then you're gonna raise his legs so that his legs are apart, and then you're holding him like this. So I'll be holding his legs, and then you're slowly walking forward in the tripod walking. So slowly walk forward, and then you can go the other side too. So this is tripod walking. And then the opposite partner, after you've done one round of that, you can do the next pose, or the opposite partner switches. So I'll be doing the plank pose, and Medi Teddy would hold my ankles. So he would just hold my feet, and then I would be tripod walking. Whoops. Yeah, so I guess you get what I mean. And that's, yeah, you do it back and forth. And yeah, so, and then our next pose we're gonna be doing is, we're gonna be table walking. So remember how we did the table pose? I can demonstrate it again. The table pose was when we sit on our butt, and then we put our hands below our shoulders, and our feet below our knees, and then we raise our hips up, and we can slowly walk backwards, and we can walk forwards. So you can also try to walk as fast or as slow as you want. And this is table walking pose. Yeah, so table walking pose is fun to do as well. You can also, another pose you could do is chair walking pose. Chair walking pose is chair pose when you're doing some walking. So we'll do chair pose again. So this is chair pose. So place your feet on the mat, hip width distance apart, or you can place them together, or just hip width distance actually. Actually, yeah, place them together, sorry, my bad. And then lower your knees, and then straighten your arms up overhead, and then walk backwards. You can walk very slowly, or you can walk faster, but I'm just doing it slower. So yeah, it's pretty funny. You can try it, and it's pretty fun. Yeah, okay. For our next pose, we're gonna be doing is plank walking pose. So plank pose, we'll be doing again is, we'll be doing plank, which is straighten our legs and feet on the mat and placing our feet, toes, hip width distance away from our hands, and then we can walk forward and walk backwards. Don't forget to breathe, and try to make sure your body is one line on parallel to the mat. And that's plank pose, plank walking pose, I mean. Okay. And then we'll do our next pose, which is the rolling needle pose. Rolling needle pose is a needle pose, but it's rolling on the floor. So remember how needle pose, we did it standing. So this is needle pose with our tiptoes. And for the rolling needle is we just roll on the mat doing needle pose. So we just like form a needle, and then we roll on the mat, and then we roll side to side, and we go the other side, and that's rolling needle pose. Yeah, so if you want to try that as well, you feel free. And then for our last set of poses, we'll be doing is partner poses. So for the first partner pose we'll be doing today is chair partner pose. Chair partner pose is when, so I'll be using Medi Teddy again. We'll be sitting on our backs facing each other. So grab a partner and face the opposite side. Make sure you link elbows with each other on the mat. So both of you are sitting on the mat and linking elbows, and then grab your feet closer to your butt, and then slowly, if you can, lean against each other's backs. Yeah, and then slowly, if you can, try to pressure each other. I mean, not pressure each other, but just lean on each other for support, and then raise your legs up so that you're standing, or not standing, but chair pose. So this would be chair pose. Imagine Medi Teddy's legs would be on the mat, and this would be chair pose, us doing it together. And then we slowly, if you can, try to lower down as much as you can, and try to sit back down, and that's chair pose. Yeah, so, and then take a few deep breaths. Yeah, since it's quite a hard, difficult partner pose to do, and yeah, that's, oops. So yeah, that's chair pose for you. Sorry, I dropped my phone. And then, okay, so now for kids yoga, we're gonna do a story. So the story is gonna be of a tale of two birds. I mean, a tale of a bird with two heads. So for the story, I'm gonna repeat it, or yeah, just gonna tell the story. And so here it is. A great bird named Baradunda lives on the banks of Alakay. He had 2 heads but a single body. One day, as the bird was wandering on the bank of the lake, he found a fruit which was as delicious as ambrosia. One of his heads mumbled, "Oh, what a fruit! I am sure the heavens have sent it for me. I am so lucky." Hearing this, the second head said, "Oh, brother, let me also taste the fruit you are praising so much." The first head laughed and said, "Both of us have the same stomach. It makes no difference whether I eat it or you eat it. I shall give it to our beloved. She will be very happy." Barunda thus gave the fruit to his wife. The second head was disappointed at this action of the first head. One day, the second head found a poisonous fruit and told the first head, "You treacherous fellow, for what you have done to me, I will eat this poisonous fruit and avenge your insults." The second head said, "You fool, if you eat that, both of us will die because we have the same body." Ignoring his warning, the second head ate the poisonous fruit and both of them died. After listening to the story, Chakradhara said, "Friend, what you say is true. You can go home, but don't go alone. Haven't our elders said, alone do not eat delicious food, do not sleep when others are awake. Neither should you travel alone, nor ponder alone over matters." See how the Brahmin has survived because he had heeded his mother's advice and took a crab as his traveling companion. "How is that?" asked Sarvanasidi. Brahmadadas was a Brahmin boy living in a city with his old mother. One day, when he was planning to travel to another village, his mother told him not to travel alone, but take someone with him. The boy said that the way to the village was safe and that he was leaving on an urgent business. He asked her not to be afraid. Knowing that he was determined to go, the mother went to the well in the backyard and took out a crab and asked his son to keep the crab with him during his travel. The boy then put the crab in a camphor box and put that box in a vessel and set out on his journey. That spring summer, the day was very hot, and the Brahmin halted and took rest under a big tree. From the hollow of the tree, a snake emerged and, attracted by the fragrance of camphor, swallowed the box containing the crab. The crab came out of the box and sliced the head of the snake and killed him. The Brahmin boy woke and found that the dead snake in the camphor box. When he saw the crab coming out of the box alive, he at once realized what had happened. He then remembered the words of his mother and thought he did well by heeding her advice that saved him from death. He also recalled the words of the elders. Those who feed on the rich do not help them in distress. When their wealth is intact, everybody hovers around the rich. Chakradhara concluded his story, telling Sarvanasidi how important to always have a companion. He then agreed to Sarvanasidi, taking leave of him. Thus ends the 5th strategy. Vishnu Sharman narrated to the sons of Amaramasriki. So that's the first story. And I'm going to also read a second story to you all. So the story is called The Monkey and the Crocodile. Long ago, there lived a monkey named Raktamukha on a blackberry tree by the side of a river. The tree was always full of fruits, which were as sweet as nectar. The monkey used to eat fruits from the tree. Raktamukha was happily passing his days, passing from one tree to another. Once a crocodile named Karalamukha came out of the waters and took rest under the tree on which the monkey lived. Raktamukha, who was sitting high on a branch, saw the crocodile taking rest under the tree. The monkey became very eager to talk to the crocodile. Since he had no friends, he wanted to make friends with him. Addressing the crocodile, Raktamukha said, "As you are taking rest under the tree, you're my guest, and it's my duty to offer you food." The monkey gave a lot of jamuns to the crocodile to eat. The crocodile ate them to his fill. He thanked the monkey for his generosity and went home. Karalamukha started coming ashore every day and enjoyed the fruits offered by the monkey. Soon they became good friends. Both of them started time with each other, discussing the world. One day, the crocodile asked the monkey for some jamuns to take for his wife. The monkey happily gave the fruits to the crocodile. The crocodile took the fruits cheerfully to his wife and also narrated the whole story to her. After eating the fruits, the crocodile's wife was overjoyed and said to her husband, Dear, if these fruits are so tasty, then the monkey who eats these fruits must be 10 times tastier. Why don't you bring the heart of this monkey for my meals?" The crocodile was stunned to hear such words from his wife. He replied, "Sweetheart, the monkey is my friend. It would not be fair to take his heart." The crocodile's wife was shrewd and pleaded with her husband to bring monkey's heart for her. The crocodile was unwilling to deceive his friend, but then she insisted on not eating anything till he brought her monkey's heart. The crocodile was left with no other options but to bring monkey's heart for his wife. He was afraid that how could he ask for such thing from his friend. He devised a plan and rushed to the monkey. Rektamuka was waiting for his dear friend for the daily meeting. Reaching ashore, Karalamuka asked the monkey in a sad tone, "My wife and I invite you to our home for a dinner. My wife is very angry with me for not having invited you earlier." He stated that his wife is anxious to meet such a nice friend. Poor monkey didn't know about the plan and believed the story of crocodile. He asked the crocodile, "I accept your invitation, but how will I go with you? I don't know how to swim." The crocodile replied, "Don't worry, come and sit on my back. I'll take you to my house." The monkey happily sat on the back of the crocodile, and they started their journey. The crocodile entered in the deep waters with an intention to kill the monkey. The monkey got scared to see water all around and asked the crocodile to move slowly. The crocodile thought that now he could reveal his real intentions to the monkey, as it was impossible for him to escape from the middle of the river. The crocodile gullibly said to the monkey, "I'm taking you to my home to please my wife. She wants to eat your heart. She says that since you eat tasty fruits day and night, your heart must be 10 times tastier than those fruits." The monkey was taken aback to hear those words. He had never expected this type of request from a friend. He kept cool and said wittingly, "Oh dear, why didn't you tell me earlier? It would be my privilege to offer my heart to your charming wife. I usually keep my heart safely in the burrow of the tree. In order to serve my heart to your wife, I have to go back to get my heart." The foolish crocodile swiftly then swam back to the tree where the monkey lived. On reaching the bank, the monkey quickly jumped off the crocodile's back and climbed up his home tree. The crocodile was in a hurry and realized that the monkey was taking too long in getting his heart. Impatiently, he asked, "What is the delay? Get you heart. My wife will be very happy." By the time the monkey had realized that this was a rebirth for him, the monkey laughed and answered, "My dear foolish friend, you've deceived me as a friend. Can anyone take out his heart and keep that in a burrow? It was all a trick to save my life and teach a lesson to an unfaithful friend like you. Now go away and don't ever come back." The crocodile was ashamed for his act and went home with his head bent down. The moral of the story is that at times, presence of mind plays well. So our next pose we're going to be doing is a breathing pose. So for our breathing pose, we're going to be sitting on our knees or sitting down on our knees and on the mat. So Manny Teddy will join me too. Oh no. Okay, so we'll be sitting on our knees and we'll be doing a breathing pose. So the breathing pose we'll be doing is a balloon breath. For those of you who want to join me. So first we're going to inhale, and on the inhale, we're going to be blowing up our stomach like a balloon. So basically, on our inhale, we're going to breathe and expanding our belly out so that it's like a balloon, and then exhale, and we're going to exhale and release the balloon from our belly. So if you want, you can join me. So we're going to be doing 3 to 5 breaths like this. So inhale, exhale. You can close your eyes, feel free. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So that is the balloon breath, and if you want, you can try it again after class. So our next pose we'll be doing an elevator partner pose. So our elevator partner pose, which is this pose, it looks like an elevator. And to do this pose, we'll be grabbing a partner again. So grab a partner, and so I'll be using Medi Teddy. And so stand straight, facing each other, and then reach your hands out so that you're grabbing each other's hands, and then slowly bend your knees so that and face your partner, and you're gonna bend your knees. So I'll bend Medi Teddy's knees, and then slowly lower yourself down into like a chair pose, but this would be, instead it would be a facing each other elevator pose. So we're gonna each stand on the floor and bend slowly and hold hands. So this is elevator pose, and you look like, because you look like an elevator. You can also have someone inside the elevator while you do the pose and pretend you're in the elevator with them. And yeah, that's the elevator pose. And then we slowly rise back up, straighten your legs, and yeah, so that's elevator pose. And yeah, and then so we can also do another pose, which is so for our last pose of today, we'll be doing a we can also do another breath, or we can also do, I guess for this class, we're going to be doing airplane pose. So airplane pose is this pose. So first we stand with our feet parallel to the mat, or our feet on the mat, and we can slowly raise one leg up. So we're raising one leg, and we're balancing on our other leg, and then we raise our arms both up so that they're parallel to the mat, and gaze forward, and slowly bend your knee so that you're straight line, and try to balance and hold for as long, as little as you like, and breathe here. Make sure you're looking down or on the mat, and yeah, so slowly lower your leg and your arms, and then we're gonna try the other side. So for the other side, we're gonna slowly raise our other leg and raise our arms up so that they're straight and parallel to the mat, and bend your right leg, and then gaze down and pretend you're an airplane, and yeah, and then lower your legs and arms to the mat, to your body, So that would be airplane pose. And and then we could also do another pose I like to do, which is plow pose. So for plow pose, just be careful that you don't hurt yourself, as with all of these poses. So we're gonna start sitting down on our stomachs, or lying down actually on our backs. And for plow pose, we're gonna raise our hips. So lie on your back and then raise your hips using your hands. So raise your hips like in a straighter pose, like in a shoulder handstand, and then lower your legs and try to reach your feet to the opposite edge of the mat. So, and then look up, or look straight, and this is plow pose. And then we're gonna raise your legs to get out of the pose, and raise your legs like this as shoulder handstand, and then lower down your hips, and careful not to go too fast, as you could injure yourself. And then slowly lie down and take a few deep breaths here. Inhale, exhale. So that's plow pose for you. And also we're gonna try another pose, which is the other pose we're gonna do today. We're gonna do arrow pose. So arrow pose is this pose. So for arrow pose, we're gonna do like a side plank, except for the side plank, we're gonna place our foot on our leg. So start on your side of your hips, and then place both feet on top of each other. Place your other hand under your shoulder, and then you're gonna raise your hips place your hands on your stomach. And try to balance first. And then if you're balanced, raise your arm up to the ceiling, and make sure both shoulders are aligned, both arms are aligned, and then you're gonna place your foot on top of your knee or your ankle or your thigh, and raise your hips. And this is the pose, arrow pose, and yeah, because you look like an arrow. And then slowly, to get out of the pose, lower your hips down, and yeah, and then do the other side as well. So the other side, we would be placing our hand under our shoulder and lowering or placing both feet up on top of each other and making sure they're parallel to the mat, and then putting our hand above on our waist, and then raising our hips, and then slowly raise your arm up, and even place your other foot on your thigh. Oops. Yeah, it's hard to balance sometimes. And then make sure your shoulders and arms are parallel perpendicular to the mat, and that they're aligned. And then here we lower down slowly to release from the pose, and that's the arrow pose. So yeah, so that's arrow pose. And then we can even do one more pose, which I like to do, is boat pose. Boat pose is a pose that so it looks like a boat, and it uses a lot of core strength. And so for boat pose, we're gonna go sit on our butt, and then slowly bend the knees and make sure that your feet are flat on the ground, and then place your arms up overhead in front of you and make sure their arms are straight. And then you can even grab your legs and slowly move one leg up, and then raise the other leg. And then if you can, try to release your arms from your legs so that you're raising your arms. And if you want, you can straighten your legs. That's a final step. Or you can place them at a 90-degree angle to the floor, and then raise or stay here for a few breaths. So inhale, exhale. And then slowly, to release, you would lower down both feet on the mat, and yeah, so that's boat pose. And yeah, so, and then for our next pose, we're gonna do starfish pose. So I like to end my class with starfish pose, as it's also called Shavasana, and we're gonna end the class by doing a relaxing pose. So Shavasana, we're gonna lie down on our mat and facing up towards the sky. So we're gonna lie on our mat and just gaze up and close your eyes even. Make sure you're still and relaxed. So this is the starfish pose, and I will guide you out of it when time is ready. And so this pose is relaxing, and it helps you ground yourself in the moment and be aware of your breath. Relax all your toes and your neck, your feet, your hands, and your shoulders. Just rest and pretend you're like such a heavy weight on the ground. So feel all your whole body resting on the ground. And breathe here for a few breaths. Just inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. Or exhale through your mouth. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Feel free to move your hands and feet slowly, and make circles with your hands and feet motions, and move your head side to side, and then slowly open your eyes or roll to the side, and then get up slowly. And then you can go into lotus pose. So this is lotus pose. It's you're crossing your legs, or you can even one foot above the other leg and the other foot in between your other leg. So this is lotus pose, or you could do a cross-legged if you, whichever one you feel more comfortable. And then we're gonna do some ohms. So place your hands into the center of your chest, place them together, and sit tall and straight. Make sure your back is straight, and close your eyes if you feel like it, and you can take a few breaths here and then say Om on the exhale. So inhale first, and then exhale Om. We're going to do this 2 more times. And yeah, that's it for class today. Thank you for joining my class, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, and hopefully you'll all stay safe and healthy during this time, and I hope to see you all next week again. Thank you all for joining. I'll see you again soon. Okay, bye.